Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today we are making, I wanted to call it a Victorian restoration kind of manor, but it's not Victorian looking at all in the sense of there's not like intricate details about the building, besides the fact that it kind of just looks like a big block manor. It's not like super intricate as we know Victorian, so I might call it maybe like a Renaissance restoration or something. I don't know. We'll figure out. Well, you already know because you've seen the title, but I'll figure it out eventually. Yeah, so it kind of didn't start off how I thought. Like, it turned out a lot different than how I thought it was gonna be. I kind of just went on a whim and I just started building, and so I go through a lot of processes because I didn't really know what I was building. So I started off with this in the front, and I decided to change it, which you will see in a few minutes. But I wanted to do this like a little overhang balcony with these cool weird shape in the front that kind of made it look more like a manor, like the front door. But I really hate putting roofs when I have a second story on the first floor because they really interfere with the second story, especially when you're playing in it. So I really hate putting roofs like on that first floor. It really bugs me when I'm playing and screenshotting, and I hate when it clips through. It's like the buggiest thing. I can't. So I do end up removing this, even though it looks really good and I liked how it turned out. I can't. There's just something about it. If they ever fix it, I think I'll be able to do it, but for now, I really dislike the roofs like that. Yeah, so I was trying to make it really cool, have like a nice porch area, and yeah, so I leveled up the front so that the front doesn't have a foundation, but the back does, because I wanted the back to have a little bit of like eating area in the back, kind of a little bit different than the front, so it kind of makes it look like realistically, not every building's gonna be super level, so I like that this one isn't, and that we're able to do that in The Sims now, so that's really fun. I never use these windows. The previous ones I just placed, like those panel looking ones, like I never use them. I used to do a lot of Victorian builds when I first started playing, because I used to be really into historical buildings and just their architecture, and I was all about that life. I loved researching it, I loved reading about it and learning new things about it, so I was really into building in that kind of format, but unfortunately you can only build so much in The Sims with a certain kind of design, so we really don't have that much olden looking stuff, and we've only recently got a few better looking things, so this is why it's kind of like a restoration of an older building, because it's kind of hard to make buildings that wouldn't have, glass or certain types of metals, or, just kind of no plumbing, no electricity. So it's really hard to make a build like that. And you kind of just have to use your imagination, pretend that they don't have that stuff, when in reality they do. So, and also, like, for gameplay wise, it's not really fun. Plus, most people don't like to play the way that I used to like to play. I don't like to play that way anymore, just because it's really difficult. But when I first started my YouTube channel, I did. So there's a lot of historical builds, and I was super into all that stuff. So I guess I'm taking it back to my roots, I guess. Yeah, so I was just having troubles finding things that suited one era and not many different eras, so it was really hard to stick with certain things and make the build look pretty good, because like I said, those mosaic windows, there's only that one big one and then this weird window one and no other ones. So unless you want the tiny one that has like cobblestones around it, but then that doesn't match at all. So I was just improvising at this point, and I really wanted like an overhang over the windows, like what are those called? like an eave, or I don't know what they're called, but I really wanted it to have like a spandrel around it to make the windows look more rounded, like the rest of the windows. So I kind of did like a different element there, which I don't usually do. That wouldn't have come to me if I didn't see a picture where they had like rounded windows, and because we didn't have any tall rounded windows that looked old, I kind of just made do with what we have. Yeah, so I was really liking how the front turned out, but like I said, that roof really bugged me, and it doesn't really look like something that they would have made back then, so I definitely fixed it a little bit, but it kind of takes the shape of a more rectangular looking house, like more boxy, which I'm not a big fan of. So taking out some elements did kind of make it look a little more simple, but then again, they weren't making, huge, big houses. I mean, they were. I don't know what I'm saying. They were making big houses because there's castles, so obviously. I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I don't know. I was just having a hard time with this build. It's really hard to, expand your horizons in this Sims. We really don't have that much to try out. So yeah, this is just my version of what I saw in my head, and it kind of turned out well. I like how it turned out. I made it work for what it is. So I'm imagining that it's an older build, and that they restored it from what it used to look like. And obviously it wasn't in ruins, it's probably well taken care of, but I definitely put in some older looking bricks that I think we got in Jungle Adventure. I'm not 100% positive, but I think we got it in Jungle Adventure because it's kind of like the bricks are washed out and dirty, and they look awesome. I love how it looks. And then what else did I do? On the inside I actually put some dirt splatters and ripped things. I don't know what they're called, but they're those wall objects you can put on the wall where it makes it look like there's scratches in the wood, because I do put panels as the walls, so I put these weird scratch marks that make it look like maybe the wood has been dinged a little bit, and they tried to fix it as best they could. So this house, I actually love how it turned out. It wasn't what I envisioned it to be, but it turned out way better, so I'm pretty happy with it. And I love putting ivy on places, on houses. The only thing though with ivy is, for some reason, it clips through, it doesn't just go away like windows do, and sometimes you see just one piece of ivy when you're in gameplay, and it's really weird. So that's the only downfall of having it all over the house, but I actually love the way it turned out, so I left it even though it kind of bugs me. And here I'm just changing to a different brick because I thought the house looked a little too bright for my taste, so I'm making it a little bit more dingy and older looking, because obviously that looks like brand new brick, right? And most houses would not, older houses would not have a brand new brick facade or whatever. Yeah, so I kind of give it a darker color scheme, and I put in some of these cool pillars, and we're changing the eaves or whatever those are. I'm not good with words. Today is not my day. And I have to record 3 videos because I'm a little bit behind today, so yay me. Yeah, so we're just throwing some ivy on, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to go with shutter windows, but I chose the ones that have a little bit more detail just because the house doesn't have a whole lot of intricateness, so I chose some more finishing features that looked a little bit more intricate, just to make the build pop a little bit. Yeah, and more ivy. Oh, I go crazy on the ivy. I love ivy. It's so pretty. And then we got some old cobblestones in. I really, really like this. I like how it turned out. I kind of made it look, it's taken care of, but also it's not pristine. It's a good house to live, but it's not the best house. I don't know how to describe what I'm saying. I know what I mean. I guess that helps. Yeah, so I don't know why I didn't cut I cut some stuff out. I didn't cut out some of the other stuff. Anyways, we're skipping to the kitchen. So the kitchen, I was struggling with because I didn't know how I wanted to do it. So I had to clip a little bit of it out, but I knew I wanted to have the wood burning stove. I knew I wanted fireplace because in my head, I'm thinking that they still have their baths by the fireplace where they boil the water on, in their fireplace and then they pour it into the bath. And so later on in the video I'll put like a privacy screen up because I used to read like historical books and stuff like that. So when they would go to have their baths, they'd have like the maids or servants or whatever fill their baths with the hot water from the fire, and then they would go behind a screen, and because the tub was too heavy or too big, they would usually have it either in their own bathing room, depending on the era. They would have it in their a bathing room with just a tub in it, or they would have a tub where they would put in a storage area and bring it out when people wanted baths, and they would put it in like the kitchen, wherever the closest fireplace was. If you had a fireplace, I think in the Victorian age they started putting it in their rooms, and they also had privacy screens there, so it just worked better with this build to put it in. Yeah, see, I'm thinking about which one I want to put in. So I kind of like that little touch. It was really, made me really happy. I don't know why. Yeah, so I had like troubles with like the wallpaper because I didn't want to go too dark, but then I didn't want it looking so new and all this stuff. So like it is a restored house, but it's not, they're not taking away from the history of the house, is my take on it. Yeah, so I just kind of throw in all these cute little curtains. I actually never use these curtains. I think they're horribly ugly. I hate them. But they went with the build really nice, and they look nice in the context of this build. So thank God for that. And then I use these rugs, which I don't get to use often because they're pretty like dirty and worn down. But I like that they kept the original furnishings from the house. And I put that ugly fridge in that has like glass, and it's supposed to be like a old looking fridge, but honestly back in the day they didn't have fridges like that. Nobody had a fridge like that ever. And I don't even know how they made a fridge with a glass door. Like it seems too modern. I don't get it. But yeah, it went with the stove, so we went with it, especially because I didn't want like a regular looking fridge. So restored, but to a limited amount of restored. Yeah, oh, I furnished and landscaped all of the outside off camera because it was a lot of repetitiveness. I put a lot of grass and little flowers, and what else did I put? I put a few bushes, like the untamed bushes in, and yeah, it looks really nice. Put some fountains in, and seating areas and bird baths, like kind of like old school stuff that we wouldn't normally have in our backyards. And there is some ruins that are kind of acting like a fence, which I love. And we put in a Victorian fireplace. See, like, I kind of didn't know what I was doing. I was like, I don't know what era this is, but we're gonna make it look somewhat Victorian. And so I love how the living room turned out, actually. And I love these couches. I think I use them every time I make a Victorian build because they just seem so Victorian. I've never used them outside of that. So this rug went perfectly, and I changed the colors. We kind of go for a little bit of a darker theme. Yeah, see, putting some, like, I don't know what those are, those weird decals that make the place look a little bit run down. I didn't put too many because this is restored, and like they did take care of the place, but there's some things that couldn't be fixed. So yeah, I love it. And then we have like some old pictures of the lady of the manor and some historical paintings, which I love. What else do we put in here? A boat, a statue. Oh, the wishing well. I almost forgot that. I always put the wishing well in historical homes. I love that. Yeah, again, using these horribly hideous curtains. And then we changed to different ones. And we go for a darker theme. This is the study, just off the living room, sitting room / whatever you want to call it. And I didn't know what to do with that weird like alcove, kind of between the living room and the kitchen dining area. So I think I threw in like a chess table, and I think I threw in a bookshelf, but I'm not 100% on that. And I do skip some of the bathrooms because it's all just the same bathroom. I use the same stuff because we only have like 1 or 2 dated tubs, like clawfoot tubs that they would most likely have now. Yeah, it's a cute little build if you're into historical homes. So if you do want to check it out, don't forget to well, for one, subscribe to my channel so you can see more. Like this video if you enjoy the build. If you want to check out this build and download it into your game, you can check me out on my gallery ID. I think it's SnowyStar567. I will have it all linked down below in the down bar, so don't forget to check that out. And thanks you all for watching. Bye!